Good morning, and welcome to the Leadership Response Incident Review. The incident we are reviewing today took place on August the 18th, 2022. So here's the incident scenario. It's approximately 12:30. There's about 400 workers on site. At 12:30, the workers would be scattered throughout the site. Some would be in maintenance building, office buildings, control room. You have people out in the field, as well as people walking to and from their jobs. Multiple family members work on site, so we must be very cognizant of that. The site is located on the west end of town, and the population is about 3,500. Somehow the media got hold of the information, and they were on the scene immediately. There were no fatalities in this incident. So, initial reporting. As an incident commander, when a report of a leak is received, the first response is to determine which of the three responses are necessary. Is it a 6 Celsius situation? Is it a unit emergency? Or do we need to evacuate the site? So, the initial report, an operator called in a leak at the chlorine tank near the cooling tower. Initial response. Inform control room operator to activate emergency seek shelter alarm. The location is at the cooling tower, and there's over 400 workers on site. Chlorine gas is a poison and can be fatal if inhaled. For that reason, we chose the seek shelter alarm. It instructs the workers to move to official seek shelter locations, moving crosswind, upwind of the leak. Head count by security is automatically initiated in the event of an emergency. Air conditioning systems are cut off to prevent gases from entering the building. All doors must be closed. All windows and doors will be taped over to prevent as much air as possible entering the building. Air conditioning system needs to be cut off. In the event of emergency, all personnel must be notified who is in control of the emergency response. Support teams will automatically respond. So in the initial control, this announcement must be made. This is Truyen Nguyen, and I am now Incident Commander. Control actions for personnel, equipment, and the environment. Inform security to report back the official head count. Emergency response team is automatically activated. Management response team is automatically activated. You need to reference the incident commander checklist, such as this one, which we'll be going through as we go through this incident, to ensure that the proper steps are taken and that we don't miss a step. Reference the emergency response map behind us, right? It will show us the wind direction, emergency area, the area that we have blocked off, and where all the ERT members are located. Inform the ERT response captain to assess the situation and advise on response. Next, you inform MRT to access any off-site response needed. One of these will be the media control. As the incident commander, everyone now officially reports to me. Directions must be clear and concise. Communication and actions must be dictated clearly. I will not be able to be everywhere at once. I must depend on my team members to keep me informed of situations as they arise. Leadership behaviors. One leadership behavior you must have is to be able to manage up and down. Most of your MRT team is personnel in management that includes people like the plant manager, HR manager, operations manager, and also the maintenance manager. So in this situation, they all report to me. So I must be able to manage up as well as to manage my response team below me. I must trust my team members to respond correctly and keep me informed. Going back on the list, site security reports back, all personnel accounted for. What this means is that every person on site has found a seek shelter location and has badged in. So they're accounted for, and I do not need to send the emergency response team on a rescue mission to find additional workers. Looking at the list, what I would do next is to inform the ERT to assess the situation and advise on the response needed. Next, inform MRT to access off-site response needed. Okay, as information funnels in, communicate all necessary information to those concerned to alleviate panic and ensuring control of the emergency. Leaderships required are situational awareness, decisiveness, problem solving, and team coordination. The first thing we need to do now is to activate the emergency action plan. Developing an EAP utilizing all the references such as the checklist and the emergency map, and to report all information. Status report. Remember, communication is key. Because the media is here, there's a high level of attention on the site. Proper and honest communication is always necessary. Site security reports back, all personnel are accounted for. So, my action as the incident commander would be inform the board operator to announce that all personnel is safe and accounted for. Because there are many workers and they have families working together at the sites, this indicates to them that they don't have to worry about a missing person. MRT reports media is at the gate. Okay. Incident commander action would be to inform communications officer to report to the media that all personnel are safe and accounted for. Emergency mitigation plans are underway. ERT reports situation and advises the action plan. Okay. Their advice was to block off the area and initiate the emergency actions. This required spraying water on the chlorine vapor to keep the size of the vapor cloud to a minimum. Okay, working with the media with honesty and integrity. We touched on that a little bit a while ago. But we also must remember that we need to protect the confidentiality of all personnel involved. So what we do now is we do a PDCA method. Plan, do, check, act. We need to check our actions. Emergency action plan. Assess the results of your execution plan. So the response captain has given us what the response needed. We just need to be able to execute that. Next, we need to inform security in case we need additional emergency vehicles to arrive on the scene or we need to go get something quickly. We ask security to clear the gates and please escort the media to the meeting rooms so that we can continue to give them updates and they will be in a safe zone. Next is to brief the communication officer on the current EAP step, to update media and to utilize the media skills to keep the community informed and emotions from escalating in the community. Do a brief check on emergency team members to make sure everyone is doing what they are supposed to and that they are not being stressed unduly. Next, the report came back. Respond captain report that the tank is now empty and the leak has stopped. So, very good. The leak has stopped and no one has been hurt. It is extremely important to communicate the necessary information as quickly as possible to allay fears and to keep the community and employees informed. So, very quickly, we need to move to de-escalation. Emotions of everyone is high. Communicate, communicate, communicate to reassure everyone. First step is to do the all clear. Announce the all clear signal to indicate emergency has been mitigated. Next step, inform emergency response captain to execute emergency cleanup and decontamination. In this step, all the emergency response members would make sure that there are no material left on the ground and that they need to decontaminate their equipment and their personal gear before they move off-site. Gather management response team to make a final brief on the cleanup. So we would talk to the communication officer, inform the media that the emergency has been mitigated. We are no longer in an emergency situation. All personnel are accounted for and is in a safe condition. Please communicate this to the community. All right, the next step is to gather the ERT and MRT together for emergency debrief. It is critical to do the debrief as soon as possible so that people are still aware of all the actions that they took during the emergency. Announce that the incident command structure has ended. Hi, this is Truyen Nguyen. The emergency is over. We are now removing the incident command structure. Although emergency has ended, the incident command leadership has not stopped. Lessons learned on the emergency must be conducted and improved upon as necessary. So, debriefing. What do we have here? We have the document officer read the meeting of the minutes. The document officer is listening to the radio, listening to all communications, and taking the meeting of the minute of the emergency so that we can come back and we can see how long it took us to respond. We discuss with the ERT and the MRT the positives and the negatives of all actions. Document all response times as a measurement in the future. So in this instance, from the initial alarm until the incident ended was approximately 30 minutes. So we will use this number when we practice in our emergency scenario response teams. All right, we have document control, update all the positives to ensure that they are repeated in other emergencies. That includes possibly adding on to the checklist to make sure that we cover everything. Have safety team develop action plans for negative actions to improve upon them in future emergencies. We will take these negative actions, and when the emergency response teams go to do their training, we would practice against these, right? Make sure we thank all the team members for their professionalism and their support during this emergency. Now you can release the ERT and the MRT members. Does anyone in the room have questions? If not, thank you very much.